Hey guys, it's Junior. Welcome back to my channel here at Horsepower Warehouse. I get a lot of inquiries from you guys about shop progress updates. I know you guys are interested in a lot of our builds that are going on, so this video is for you guys. I want to just spend some time over in the shop and show you guys some of the newest stuff that's going on. So let's dive right into it. We will slip past this guy for right now. I will talk about that in a moment. So we're gonna go straight on to my 66 Nassau car, because I've spent a considerable amount of time in the last 2 weeks just massaging and applying and fitting and so on and so forth. I had mentioned in the last video, this car is now at the process, or the point in the process, where it's like 500 little projects. And what I mean by that is, like, the instrument cluster is its own project. Each of the doors, the column took me, a little bit of time just to completely blow it apart, rebuild it. It goes on and on and on. Each component in this car is its own little project. The shifter I completely blew apart and rebuilt, so on and so forth. So I'm happy to show you guys this. The car has made some pretty considerable progress since our last meeting. You'll notice side pipes are completely installed. Quite a few things have gone on in the engine bay. It's looking a lot more complete. Still waiting for vintage air, but it's pretty much ready for it. Moving into the interior, you can see that instrument cluster is completely rebuilt, looking beautiful. I mean, I'm super proud of that. All of the stainless on the windshield is pretty much there and ready to go on the inside. So looking real nice. I don't mind saying so myself. New bumpers. This car is just coming out fantastic. You have to take your time on this last 10%, because this is where a lot of the actual hand fitting and massage work, so to speak, comes. Nothing at this point just bolts on. You're always messing with something just to make sure that fitment is correct. That's par for the course. It doesn't aggravate me because I know what I'm getting into. But if you go to build one of these cars and you think you're just gonna be turning screws and lefty loosey righty tighty on the bolts, it's a lot more than that to get these cars fitted like this. So I'm really proud of the progress, and I think this car is just bang, fantastic. It's gonna come out really good. We've been working on the chassis for this car. This one is ready to go to paint. So it's waiting for its spot at the painter. He's very close to being able to take this one in. This one has the tune loaded, and we're still working with the intricacies of the Holley Terminator X-Max package. This one is now transitioned. This 63 has transitioned into the spot where that one was. So I'm now blowing apart all of the components for this car and rebuilding them individually. The column, the instrument, it just goes on and on and on. There are some things that we replace, but it's as little as possible. I really prefer to keep this true to form and as a 60s Corvette, because of course that's what I'm building here. I don't want to build a parts box car, so to speak. This 67 here, you can see the chassis has magically reappeared. Last time it was at powder coat. Sean has been plugging away at kind of laying everything out and beginning the reinstallation process of the parts. As you guys can probably see, it just came out fantastic. My powder coater, I believe, is one of the best in the industry. I hold him to a really high standard, and he meets or exceeds my expectations just every single time. Painted spindles on there, of course. All of the hardware is replaced with the highest quality hardware that I can get. You'll notice the stainless fuel line and stainless brake lines. It's a source of pride for our shop, is to be able to build, this. This is what we really love to do, and we're happy to do it. You can see completely rebuilt rear end and rebuilt transmission are sitting there waiting for the engine to come back from my machine shop. The engine for this car and that white 67 there are both at the machinist right now. So we'll probably have those back later this week. Just really coming out nice there. This car's chassis is over here on the floor next to my split window chassis. I want to talk with you about that, and that's going to be the source of the thumbnail for this video, is how Undercoat kind of destroyed the chassis on this white car. And I didn't even see it. I wasn't able to recognize it until I got to scraping all the undercoat off the chassis. I'll show you what I found. But before I do, I want to not skim by this red on red split window that just happens to be sitting here in the shop. This car, I messed up, guys. I did not make a video fast enough. It sold in between 24 and 48 hours. From the time it hit the floor here to when we were done paid. This car sold incredibly fast. I'm not gonna get into what it sold for, or, you know, I don't want to tease you guys. I know I can think of at least 4 people who are gonna be disappointed in seeing this car because it got sold out from under them that fast. A lot of people would like to have first preference on split windows, but this car is so incredibly hot that, you know, we put it on our website and make it available to the general public. We don't like to be picky and choosy with our customers. That's not fair. So this car, it's crazy how fast it went. It's a lot of red going on in there, isn't it? But was not built by me. I mean, obviously it's only been here for less than 2 days, so I apologize for you guys that missed out on that one. Hopefully whoever buys it, you know, what goes around comes around, and I get to build this car. That would be pretty sweet, but if not, it is what it is. I've got others to build. The 64 here, we are still waiting on our vertical bonding strip for the rear. That is one of those parts where not a lot of people actually carry that part, and finding it in stock, not shipped direct from manufacturer, is a tough thing. Usually I carry bonding strips in stock for just this reason, because it's such a pain to source them in some cases. But you know, we're still waiting on that. This chassis has been completely repaired. Sean just absolutely knocked it out of the park on the repair job on this. So I would say that it's absolutely indiscernible, the repair job. If I have to tell you where the blend is, then the blend is gone, in my eyes. Can you guys see where the blend was? Same thing with the rail that we replaced here. And this is pretty much down to bare metal. So once it's powder coated, of course, I mean, it will all look the same. Truly indiscernible. That is a proper fix in my eyes if you can't tell where it was done. This chassis is the one that I've kind of run into issues with. This is the one that's out of this white 67 car. Now this car is a complete restoration. So we knew we were going to be powder coating the chassis, doing a full paint job, so on and so forth. From beneath, the chassis looked okay. It wasn't until I started getting the scraper out, and I saw these when it was on my lift over there, and then I saw the end cap here was rotten, and then there's actually a second wall inside there, and that's rotten as well, which again, you're not a huge deal. This can be repaired by doing that rail section that we replaced on this one. That can be done. It's not a huge deal. You'll also notice that this brace has a big tear through it where the cable that went through it at some point yanked through. So I can replace that corner brace as well. Not a big deal. I would obviously do that side as in addition. Moving forward, I saw that this cross member has a pretty hefty bang in it. It obviously caught something at some time. So you have 2 options here. You can completely replace the cross member like we did in this one. This one was all chopped up because it had an aftermarket transmission at some point in the car. So we replaced it with the correct cross member. So you can either replace it altogether like we did with the 63 chassis here, or you can actually make a hole on this side, you know, kind of drive it out, correct it, smooth it, and then weld, you know, and try to fix it. My job here is to run, you know, how expensive is it to do it option A or option B? You know, it's all about time and materials. And what is the final product that I'm going to achieve on the back end? Obviously on this car, we had to do the cross member. It would have been way too much time to try to fix that one. So I can do the cross member, I can do the frame section, I can do the braces, you know, but that's a lot of work. And keeping in mind that it's hard to show you guys on camera, but that frame horn is not laser straight. And the same thing, this is upside down, so this is passenger side, but it's they are not great. They're acceptable, but they're, you know, it's been bumped at some point. And we could probably even correct that. I mean, obviously I have new frame horns on this car, so it's correctable. But as you keep going further, I started scraping around this area, and you can see how thick the undercoat was here. I got into rot in this junction. So you can see the undercoat. I left it on here. You can see how thick it was. This stuff just absolutely trapped moisture underneath it, and it rotted out this section. Now this is where the rear cross member for the rear end actually attaches. So this is a very critical junction in the chassis. With it being this rotten here and here, it's got me really thinking about the condition of the rest of the chassis. When if it's eaten through this much material on the inside of it to where, you know, it's through completely, what does it look like on the rest of it? Now you can see the chassis on the spots where there was no undercoating, it's barely even pitted. I mean, the actual metal itself held up great. It's only where the undercoating trapped that moisture that it just absolutely ate through this frame. So unfortunately with this one, I'm really thinking this is gonna be an irreparable frame. In terms of efficiency and getting things done and getting the best quality for my customer, I'm probably gonna be sourcing him a new chassis for this. I'm a real stickler about using correct for correct, so I'm not gonna convert a C3 chassis over, or, you know, convert a 63 chassis to a 67, which, by the way, that's another good talking point for you guys. I can show you guys some of the differences. You'll notice the 63 chassis has the parking brake tab there. It's got the parking brake holes in the cross member. You can see the body mounts that this later doesn't have. Yeah, there are some differences in between a 63 chassis. You'll also notice that the side pipe provisions are absent in a 63 because no 63s came with side pipes. So it's a bummer because I told this guy when we had it on our lift over there that the chassis looked good, and I was being 100% honest. It did look fine until I got it upside down, disassembled, and started scraping the underneath, all this undercoat off the bottom of the chassis where, man, it really did a doozy on it. So kind of bummed about that. But I just wanted to use this to illustrate to you guys where I kind of try to draw the line on fixing these chassis. This one did not have any frame rot. There was no rust. So all the way through, I mean, the chassis was fantastic. This one was modified for racing use. I can unmodify it. That's great. I can't unrust it, if that makes sense to you guys. So let me know down below what you think. You know, it's the discovery process. That's all part of the restoration deal here. Is I can only tell you so much without disassembling the car, and we got the short end of the stick on this car. Now, this one, the green one, man, that chassis came out just fantastic. It is great, absolutely great. So it's a roll of the dice, guys. Where did the car spend its entire life? There's a lot of factors that go into, you know, what condition your chassis is going to be in. So let me know down below, you know, I'm always looking to improve my process. So what would you have done better to try to identify this before taking the car apart? Is there anything that you can do? I'm willing to say, you know, I did my due diligence, and I did a couple hours of just looking at it and investigating it. That's what I do with all my customers. I actually don't charge you to bring your car in for the initial visit. I get it here for free and give you the first couple of hours for free just to give an analysis of the car, because I understand it costs you money to transport your car to me. So, you know, it's a give and take situation here. I don't charge for the initial visit. I just want to give you a absolutely transparent opinion about what I think your car is going to take. And in order to do that, we got to get it on my 4-post lift with the LED lights and illuminate things and spend a little bit of time, you know, digging and poking. Thank you guys for joining me. I'm glad to have you back in the shop. Maybe next time we'll walk through the sales side, and I'll show you some of the new cars that have appeared through that door. But for this time, man, it's all service. So thank you guys so much for joining me. Until next time, take care.